Okay, back again today with Jo Rogers, 7 times Miss Australia and World NABBA runner-up. Yep, pretty impressive stuff. And I thought that it would be a good opportunity to ask Jo a couple of things about posing. I'm sure that if you've been to a show, you see lots of girls with quite nice physiques, but they really don't know how to pose well, or they don't know how to pose to the best of their abilities. And I think there's nothing more disappointing than someone who clearly hasn't learnt the poses and practiced them and really refined it. And I guess that's one of the differences between those top-end competitors that just slide into everything so beautifully. Transitions are beautiful. So Jo, what do you think some of the mistakes are with pose? What's the biggest thing that you see that is not conducive to great posing?
Oh, you'll know exactly the answer I'm going to say. I think most people try too hard when they're learning to pose. So they put too much effort into the flexing and the squeezing when, to me, and you know, there is, I'm sure, a heap of people that will agree that to me posing is a very aesthetic thing. So if something's going to look beautiful, you're going to want to watch it more. If something looks hard and angular and awkward and uncomfortable and just aggressive, well, especially for a female, to me it's not something that I want to watch. So I would say most people practice squeezing too early. That's something that you do and you learn to do subtly as you get more proficient with the actual shape of the poses.
Okay, yeah, and if you're a beginner, how do you start? What's the best way to start?
Do you get starting as in getting someone or doing it on your own?
Doing it on your own, yeah.
I suppose, for a beginner it's hard because there's a lot of stuff on the internet and there's big names that pose well, there's big names that actually don't pose very well. So it will depend on who they're trying to replicate.
Yeah, and if they're replicating someone but their physique actually isn't that similar to that girl, is that a problem?
It can be. Your basic poses, it's small things within the poses that will change with a different physique. And you know, these days we've got quarter turns for a lot of the federations, whereas the figure girls will just do quarter turns, or the fitness models really only have 3 poses, but the variations would then become immense.
So speaking of the sports models, obviously the sport's just catapulted. What's the difference between an average sports model up there on stage posing and one that's got that wow factor? What's the difference?
The wow factor comes, I think, from within rather than without. So you're going to have an amazing physique. Most girls on stage are going to have a body that's looking pretty good. The girl that wins or the girl that catches most people's eyes has something that you possibly can't put your finger on. It comes down to having a personality, projection, connection with your audience, and definitely connection with the judges. Lots of eye contact without being too stalkerish, if that makes sense. And you don't need to try hard. When I work with my models, whether it's bikini fitness, sports model, I sometimes think less is better, like less is more, rather than trying to go over the top, keeping it subtle but big, rather than huge and in your face.
Yeah. Back to the figure.
Yes.
One of the things that I've noticed in the years that I've worked with you, with my clients, and even myself, why do girls have so much problems, some girls, with getting their lats out, and it seems really difficult to do it without you there, actually getting that scapula into the right position. But what's your advice on actually nailing that?
I know, you can Google it on Facebook, Google it on the internet, or you'll see clips on Facebook about people that have a procedure to get into it. I'm so much against that, because I think you get into a bad habit, by, you can do this, this and this to do this, but then when you step on stage, no one wants to see you going through those steps to get to the end result. So I'm very much about learning it from, I suppose, a stage point of view. You just want to see someone lift their chest and they're open out their back and their shoulders will come out, their lats will come out.
Here's a tricky one for you.
Yes.
Just sitting there, like a lot of girls, if you were sitting down like you, could not get the chest up and just broaden the shoulder. Okay, there you have it, girls. Did you see that? And actually, Graham Lansfield, one of my mentors, said you should actually be able to do that wherever, even in the car.
Yep.
And he'd say,
most girls will try too hard. They'll try and use their arms or their shoulders to open out their lats. I mean, I don't have a university degree on body physics, whatever. But to me, it's if you lift your chest first, your scapula is going to float out much easier than if you're trying to round your back. If you've got your arms down, it's going to be much easier than if your arms are up. So a lot of girls think that it's all about lifting their arms, but it's more about lifting the chest. Your scapula just floats forward, and it's such a tiny, subtle movement. So the issue becomes too much, so trying too hard and trying to do too much and trying to move too many body parts is just such a subtle thing. But you've got to learn how to feel it.
how to feel it. Yeah, I think that's important.
No one taught me. I just had to get it one day.
Yeah.
And I think I got it after. I wish I had me to help me back then. But look, there's 2 or 3 years of competing.
Yeah.
Thought I looked good, and then all of a sudden I just went, oh my God! I had that light bulb moment. And went, okay, now my physique's really going to look better.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So any final words for the figure girls with their posing?
If I can tell you to do one thing that will make a difference, is to lift up through your chest.
Okay.
Yeah, it just makes you look more confident. It makes you look more switched on.
Switched on.
So chest first, and then everything else will fall into place. But yeah, your quarter turn to the front is the base of every pose that you're going to do.
That is so fantastic. I'm sure the girls will get a lot from that. That was really good. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
That was awesome.